Hey, it's me, Raika. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new Wilder hero, Atheus, Pride of Arbor. Now, this hero wears cloth-based gear, is part of the tank class, and his primary role is to provide a significant amount of secondary buffs, such as increasing your allies' damage, cancelling the enemy's ult, reducing the amount of incoming damage that is intended for his team and for himself. So let's have a look at his abilities. Torrent Hunt. Now, this is his bread and butter right over here. What this ability does, he will summon a little beast cage. Now, this will consist of wooden vines or branches that will envelop a small area on the battlefield. Now, this will have various effects, and all of his abilities will have some interaction with this beast cage. So let's have a look. Atheus waves his deer crown staff, unleashing a torrential siege with the area most concentrated with enemies as the target area. The torrential siege deals AoE damage to enemies in its path and stops upon reaching the final target. So he can be standing on the other side of the map, use his staff, and it will create the beast cage. After stopping, the torrential siege knocks the enemies in the target area back slightly towards the center of the area and stuns them for a couple of seconds. So he'll stun them for a couple of seconds and he'll deal 300% AoE damage to them. Then Atheus generates a beast cage at the target location. Any enemy that tries to leave the beast cage will take damage equaling to a portion of Atheus's attack rating and is knocked back slightly and stunned briefly. When an enemy leaves the cage, their tenacity is reduced. Only one beast cage may exist at a time on the battlefield. So as we can see, he'll reduce the enemy's tenacity. This is their chance to resist control effect, so that will be reduced, so allowing him to control the enemies. The level 2, a torrential siege deals damage to enemies in its path for 350%, and any enemy that tries to leave a beast cage takes damage equal to 220% of Atheus' attack rating. The level 3, if the tenacity of the enemy in the beast cage is lower than Atheus' insight, every 1 point of difference increases the damage suffered by the enemy by 1% up to 80%. His next ability, Spiritual Blessing. When he uses some of his skills, Atheus earns a wood protection emblem. So this will be a little icon that will appear on top of Atheus. Now he'll have a couple of stacks of this particular protection item over here. When receiving damage from a single attack that exceeds exactly 10% of his max health, Atheus can spend one stack of wood protection to resist the damage. Once he has acquired the maximum stacks of wood protection, any more wood protection received will be converted into 5% of his max health. So this is a bit of self-healing for himself. Atheus uses his deer crown staff and oak shield arm alternatively to carry out normal attacks. When using his oak shield arm to attack, he earns one stack of wood protection, and when using deer crown staff to attack, he stuns the enemy for 0.5 seconds. So as we can see, this is his oak shield right over here, and that is his deer crown staff. So let's have a look at his next ability, Purging Evil. Atheus taps the ground with his deer crown staff, unleashing a cleansing deluge that deals damage to nearby enemies and inflicts spiritual stagnation onto them. So this is a little debuff onto them. So this lasts for 5 seconds. When under spiritual stagnation, damage dealt by the enemy is reduced by 25%. Each time Atheus inflicts spiritual stagnation on one enemy, he receives one stack of wood protection. So as we can see, he will constantly be mitigating a significant amount of damage. While under the spiritual stagnation debuff, damage dealt by an enemy is reduced by 40%, so that's 25 all the way to 40. Level 3, the duration of spiritual stagnation is increased to 8 seconds, and the 30 engravings, any beast cage on the battlefield deals the effects of cleansing deluge within its range. So as we can see, this is an extra utility item that he can acquire when you get his 30 engravings over here. His next ability, Nature's Breakthrough. Atheus leans over and strikes the ground with his oak shield arm and induces enchanted wood to break out of the ground, dealing damage to nearby enemies and stunning them for 4 seconds. The level 2, at the end of the skill, Atheus receives one stack of wood protection Level 3, at the end of the skill, Atheus receives 3 stacks of wood protection and the 60 engravings. Any beast cage on the battlefield deals the effects of nature's breakthrough, that's the stun and the damage effect, within its range. So as we can see, this is an extra utility item that he'll gain when he unlocks his 60 engravings. So let's have a look at his signature item. Now when you unlock the Edict of Nature, when a beast cage exists, this is his ultimate. Normal attack damage. This is the normal attacks that allies do. So this is not ultimate or any skills that the allies may have. The normal attack of allies and Atheus will be increased by 45%. So this is simply unlocking this ability over here. Level 10 unlock. Enemies within range of the beast cage have their dodge and magic suppression reduced by 60 and 20 points respectively. This is further enhanced through the 20 signature item to 120 points of dodge reduction and 40 points of magic suppression reduction. And the 30 signature item unlock. Enemies within range of a beast cage are unable to use their ultimate skill when under spiritual stagnation. So as we can see, this is when you chain this ability, Bestial Cage, with the stagnation ability of Purging Evil. So let's have a look at his furniture right over here. When you unlock Spiritual Achievement 3 out of 3, each time Atheus acquires a stack of wood protection, his buffer rating is increased by 10 points. And a 9 out of 9, each time Atheus acquires a stack of protection, his insight is increased by 10 points. So let's have a look at how he does in battle. Alright, so we're going to start off with the wooden training dummy right over here. So as soon as he walks onto battle, he'll gain a couple of these stacks of protection or wood protection. Now he'll have 6 stacks, so that means he'll gain that insight and that buffer increase. Now we can see that he's alternating between his ability over here, his Deer Crown Staff and his Oak Shield Arm. Now he'll slash and slam the enemies. As we can see, he's stunning multiple targets. And this over here is the vines that will become crashing out of the ground and controlling the enemies. So let's have a look at his ultimate. So this is the beast cage right over here. It will pull the enemies together, reducing the amount of damage they do and allowing your allies to deal a lot of AoE damage to grouped up enemies. So we're going to have a look at him once again. So as we can see, he gains additional protection over here with this extra shield effect that is circling him permanently. So let's have a look at how he does at a much higher level deficit. Now this is a 200 level deficit, and as we can see from this particular battle, he did a significant amount of damage. Now in addition to this, because he's a tank, he was also able to survive for a significant duration of time, and this allowed him to deal damage as well. However, his primary focus is buffing any ally's normal attack. So that is the reason why Grizzle over here did a significant amount of damage, is because Atheus over here buffed the normal attacks of his allies over here. And this allowed Grizzle's skeletons to skyrocket that 45% increased damage to their attacks onto the enemies. So there we go. The enemies are constantly being stunned and grouped up over here through Atheus over here. And Grizzle is able to deal his damage in peace. So as we can see, he's got his couple of stacks. He's constantly stunning the enemies. And here we can see the beast cage. And these enemies are grouped up and are constantly being attacked by Grizzle's minions. So let's speed it up. And we've claimed victory over our opponent. So what is the minimum investment that I would recommend into this allied hero? Now I would highly recommend getting his 30 signature item. The reason for this is this unlocks all of his abilities right over here, such as cancelling the enemy ultimate, increasing the amount of normal attack damage done to the enemies, and reduces the enemy's dodge and magic suppression, allowing you to do more damage to the enemies even further. Now, I would also recommend getting at least his 9 out of 9 furniture. The reason for this gives him extra survivability that he might need in order to survive longer in battle. In addition, this also makes his buffs that he provides for his allies and for himself more effective through the buffer ability. And in addition, he also gains additional insight, which allows him to inflict his control-based effects more reliably on the enemies, allowing you to control the enemies and allowing your allies to be more effective in battle. Now, I do not recommend getting his 30 or his 60 engravings, as this does not give him any extra benefit for your teammates. as he is mostly used for his secondary role to support your allies and allow your allies to be as powerful as they possibly can.